is Freethought Forum, a program by the Atheist Society of Knoxville and the Rationalist of East Tennessee. I'm Faithless Forrest.
And I'm Larry Rhodes, and we want to talk to you about our local organizations and some similar national organizations.
All right, could this be you? You no longer believe in any God, but you feel left out of the social activities to which you may have been accustomed to in a church. That's perfectly natural. We're social animals, and we like to learn from and interact with one another and to share the pleasures of life.
Perhaps you never believed in any God, but find it hard to meet people with a rationalist worldview. Depending on how the question is asked, non-believers are only between 2% and 15% of the population, so you may not know any.
You may, frankly, be afraid to talk about your absence of belief in any God with friends and family. But right here in the Bible Belt are active, growing organizations where you can meet other non-believers. And although we should not have to say it, we want you to let you know that you don't have to believe in any God to be good. And don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
We are here today to speak about the Atheist Society of Knoxville and the Rationalists of East Tennessee. Similar organizations meeting similar needs. Be the Freedom from Religion Foundation, national organization. American Atheists, can you think of any others?
There is...
Secular Student Alliance.
That's the one I was hunting for, yes. And then your organization, Larry.
The Atheist Society of Knoxville is my organization. I started it about, 8 years ago on 2002 in November. Started meeting just at local coffee houses once a month, and it's grown to over 200 members now. And we've recently had an announcement from two of our members that they're going to get married. They met at one of our meetups, and now they're going to be married. So you guess you could call it even more of a social organization than that.
And that's a great victory for your organization.
Yes. We're very excited about it. James and Emily, congratulations, way to go. We have activities in our organization that are mainly social. We meet weekly at different locations around Knoxville for happy hour dinners, and we also have a monthly movie night where we meet at a local home theater merchant, and he allows us to use his rooms to view movies on a 100-inch screen. Very nice.
Larry, can I ask you what kind of movies you may have seen?
Well, the first one was Saving the Life of Brian, and then
that's great.
There was another one along that line, Dogma. We watched it.
Dogma.
Some of these have religious and humorous lines or themes, but that's not necessarily the case. But it's always fun. We have dinner and drinks and snacks. It's almost like a Baptist covered dish. Everybody brings a little something, brings their own bottle and or whatever they like to drink. And then after the movie, we stay around and socialize. They're welcome to come. We have an email list that keeps us in constant contact, very active list. We talk about every subject under the sun. And
I'm on that list, and I think, Larry, you've sent some great things out. I can remember examples of things that are both in the news as well as YouTube videos that are humorous. I'm especially fond of the Mr. Deity series.
Yeah. Mr. Deity on YouTube. Look him up. It's very funny.
He's great.
Yeah. And your organization, who you're representing today, is the Rationalists?
That's right. I'm a member. I participate with the Atheist Society of Knoxville. I'm also a member of the Rationalists of East Tennessee, which
as
Larry
I am.
is also. The activities of the Rationalists of East Tennessee tend to be a little more structured. On the first and third Sunday of each month, we get together for some programs. We call them roundtables. Sometimes they're a philosophical presentation by a member or a guest. And on the second Sunday of every month, we do a book club where several members read a book, and then we bring both outlines and the books, and we discuss them. You don't have to actually read the book to participate, and I'll confess that I've probably read less than 5 of the books of the month in the several years I've participated. But I also have gotten a lot out of that because sometimes after it was done, I realized I didn't need to read that book. And that's sometimes a good thing. On the fourth Sunday of every month, there is a kind of a dinner club-like activity called Reflections, where It's a smaller group. They will discuss philosophical matters a little more in depth. Some of the past topics they've discussed is, do we have a social contract with our fellow citizens? Our personal experience of choosing free thought over religion. And I guess the one that's coming up this month is on violence and human nature. There are other activities during the year, such as in the middle of the summer, we observe the summer solstice, and that turns into a pool party. And come the holidays, we do a winter solstice party. And there's also equinox parties. I think at this point we might want to start inviting people to call in. The phone number is on your screen. It's 865-215-2288.
This is a call-in show. If you don't believe in God, or if you do, we'd be happy to hear from you and just talk about whatever subject you want to bring up. Of course, we do like to talk about our organizations today, so if you have any questions about that, feel free to ask any of those.
Well, RET has got a road trip going on this Sunday. We're going to drive over to visit with, I think they call themselves the Western North Carolina, I think it may be Atheist Association. Mm-hmm. We have a picnic over in Asheville. I've been the past 2 years. I don't remember if you've made it, Larry.
No, I haven't.
And we met a nice group of people over there. I could imagine it was about 30 people, and we had, it was a bring your own potluck kind of thing. And we grilled out, and we discussed what atheists often do when they get together. It'll be losing faith in faith stories, and there's also the challenge of if you're raising a family and you don't want to have them indoctrinated by a church, and yet you would like the social organization of something like a church. And that problem is discussed by many of the members.
The local Universalist church is a good social organization. If you've lost your faith in and in God and in faith, you can always join the UU Church. They accept memberships from those who are non-believers as well as believers. They believe that the main thing in life is to find your own way to truth, and we all feel that truth is very important. Mahatma Gandhi said that truth is the only God, which I pretty much agree with him on that.
Yeah. Many of the members are also members of the local Unitarian churches, and I think that that's going to be true nationwide. Growing up, I grew up faithless, but growing up, my mother attended a Unitarian Universalist church, and so it's a kind of a family tradition with us.
I grew up Christian, and there's a lot of saying about people losing their faith in college, and that's what happened to me. I was pretty cloistered in a small town growing up as a Christian, but when I got to college, I learned about all the other religions out there, and it didn't take me long to find out, why would Christianity be any better than any more true, I guess I should say, than any of the other religions out there. Every last one of their leaders tell them that they have to have faith to believe in the things that they are telling them that is true. And I would say, well, you got to have faith to believe anything. You can have faith to believe anything. Like you could believe that Tinkerbell is real.
That's right. If wishing makes it so, then Tinkerbell could be just as real.
That's true.
Is there any particular faith you learned about that maybe shook your tradition?
No, just the fact that there were so many of them, and all their beliefs were so passionate that their beliefs were true, and they could not be shaken any more than the people in my own Christian church growing up could not be shaken.
So that made you consider what is the validity of my own beliefs.
Right. The small doubts are the ones that get you started thinking, and thank goodness I've been thinking ever since.
All right. Well, that's great. After joining RET and meeting the local rationalists, I learned something that from my perspective was kind of a revelation or an inspiration, and that is that most people have faith, and then it takes something to make them lose that. Where I grew up in Minnesota, it just wasn't a strong thing in our social culture. And so I've enjoyed the stories about how what caused people to come to
the deconversion stories, as we call them, because you're born atheist. Every baby in the world is an atheist because they have to be taught the God concept, and then you're converted into whatever religion that you end up growing into, and it's usually the one you were born into. The family that you were born into is the religion that you have for the rest of your life. Those who show doubt, start thinking, move away from the religion, we call deconverts or deconversion, refer to them as deconversion, and the deconversion stories are very interesting and widely varied.
Well, I tell a little of my story because it is kind of different. It is only after I became a member of the Rationalists of East Tennessee and interacted with former theists that I developed a kind of a curiosity in the Bible. And so as a full-blooded atheist, I've read the Bible. That makes me far more knowledgeable about references to it, both in popular culture and in literature.
The best-selling and least read book in the world.
The best-selling and least read book. Man, that's great. And I would encourage everyone to read that Bible, and I would ask you, as you read that Bible, please keep your moral sense turned on. As you read the Bible, when you come across some of those difficult spots, and when you read it, you'll know what I mean, you'll feel yourself trying to think, oh, well, maybe somehow the rules have changed. And
or God really knew what he was talking about. Or, God's the maker and God's the potter and we're the clay. No, if he tells one person to kill another person, that's not ethically sound, no matter who you are, even if you're a God. Especially if you intend to terrorize and torture people for eternity.
That's right. One of the things I learned at a rationalist meeting, it was a discussion, a philosophical discussion that turned a corner, and someone asked, well, what if when you die you discover there is a God? And being a physicist by education, the thought that went through my mind is, that's great. I'll be able to ask some of the questions about which I've always wanted an answer and get that answer. Why was it made this way? Is it infinite, or is it a wraparound?
What was before the Big Bang?
Yeah, what was before? Why did you do it this way? But then one of the members said, but wait, that's not the important question. The important question would really be, well, why is there evil? Why did you do it this way? Isn't there a better way? And I'll admit that I felt that you're right. I missed the point. The important question was to ask those moral questions. And that, the interest I had in physics and how the universe works is mere trivia by comparison.
Right.
So that's one of those great little moments I had by interacting with my fellow rationalists.
Well, you would also ask him, why did he make his plan so convoluted? Why did he put man on the surface of the earth, and then knowing that he was going to...
All right. Well, Larry, I think we have a call here. Okay. I think if you can operate that button.
All righty. Hello, caller. Go ahead. What's your name? Caller?
We're not hearing you.
I heard you say something about name, but I didn't hear anything before that.
Oh, okay. You're on now. What's your name?
Oh, my name is Ted.
Hello, Ted.
My question is for Mr. Rhodes. I heard you say that you grew up in the Christian church, and so did I. But Christian church means a lot of different things, including all the different denominations. What Christian church did you grow up in?
Southern Baptist.
Aha. I didn't know they were called the Christian church. I grew up in the Disciples of Christ church, and the only comment I might say is that I was very proud of my church when I was young, because they did a lot of good things, and they were very, I think, moral people, and were very concerned about social issues and about poor people and about people overseas.
Churches can do good works.
And I find I'm a Unitarian now.